Okay, so I was going to have like an opening skit costume, but it involved a lot of straps and leather, and I decided I didn't want to do that, so yeah, I saw Mad Max, a saga, Furiosa, Mad Max. I saw Furiosa. Let's get into it.
Ready, steady, go! Where are you going? So full of hope. There is no hope.
If you find him, he's mine.
Okay, so if you didn't know, this is a prequel to the movie Mad Max Fury Road, but it's not a prequel to the entire Mad Max series, which began back in 1980 with just Mad Max, and then it was the Road Warrior, or Mad Max 2, depending on where you were in the world, and then Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, and then there was like a 30-year wait before Mad Max Fury Road, which is an amazing action movie. I mean, it's often considered like one of the greatest action movies of all time. So of course, it's no surprise that I have to compare Furiosa with the movie that follows it, Mad Max Fury Road. And honestly, not as good as Mad Max Fury Road. I gotta be honest right there, it doesn't beat that movie. That being said, this was still a lot of fun. Now, I do have to acknowledge, this is really stupid. But I'm a little disappointed that her actual name is Furiosa. Like, I was expecting to find out that like her real name was like, you know, Millie or something, and then through her course of her like life, her early life, it gets revealed that like, you know, she was such like a terrifying force of nature that she got the nickname Furiosa. And come to find out, no, that was her name at birth. And it's like, okay, that's a tad disappointing. It's like, imagine you have the Doomslayer, okay, and you found out that when he was born, he was just called the Doomslayer by his parents. It's like, okay, that's a tad odd. But in like the Doom video games, there's like this like subplot where, you know, he basically was named by the hordes of hell the Doomslayer because he was the thing that they had nightmares about. It's like, okay, that's kind of a cool backstory to the Doomslayer. And when you're talking about Furiosa, it's like, it would have been cool if, like, you know, she was just so ruthless, so punishing that, you know, all of the people at the Citadel just start calling her Furiosa. And it's like, no, that was actually her given name at birth. So I thought that was funny. Am I going to hold that against the movie? No, but I'm a little disappointed in it. Now, of course, the star of the show was not Anna Taylor-Joy or the character Furiosa. It was Chris Hemsworth as Dementus. I believe that was his name. Everyone has weird names in this universe except for Max. You know. And, like, I mean, just, I knew he was going to do a good job because I saw Bad Times at the El Royale, which was a movie that came out several years ago where it's one of the few times he actually played an antagonist or a bad guy, and it was very obvious he was having a lot of fun with that role, so I kind of knew going in that he was going to have a blast with this role, and boy, did he not disappoint, because he absolutely, you could tell he was having the time of his life doing this movie. I mean, he was the one person having the most fun doing this film, and it really shows. I mean, I'm kind of excited to see him play more antagonistic characters down the road, because whenever he plays a heroic character, he kind of has one type. You know, as much as I like movies like Black Hat, he has a certain type that he sticks to when doing heroic characters. But when he does villain characters, he like just goes crazy with it, and he just paints outside the box, and it's really interesting. I think you're going to see him kind of gravitate towards more villain characters down his career, because that's when he gets to have the most fun. Now, surprisingly, Anna Taylor-Joy is not in this movie as much as you would think, but she does feel like a good casting job for an older Charlize Theron. I mean, obviously, you put them next to each other in real life, they don't really look that much the same, but in this movie, in this universe, it does feel like she could one day evolve into Charlize Theron. And so I did like the casting choice there, even with the little girl that's kind of feels like she's in the movie more than Anna Taylor-Joy. She felt like a natural evolution into Anna Taylor-Joy, who would evolve into the third Pokemon stage evolution of Charlize Theron's Furiosa. I don't know if George Miller intended for that to be like a reference to Pokemon, or if that was just something I came up with. Speaking of Anna Taylor-Joy's Furiosa character, this, including like what was built in Fury Road, but also in this film, is a good blueprint for any inspiring writer on how to write a good, captivating female character. Like, never once did I feel like she was falling into the typical cliches that you see Marvel or Disney strong female leads fall into. It's like, no, actually this felt like a believable, relatable, likable female lead that I could root for, and that was badass and awesome. And so if you're interested in doing like a strong female action character, use these two Mad Max films and the character of Furiosa as a blueprint. Kind of like study it and like just kind of feel like, okay, why does this work? Okay, let's look at this. You know, kind of do that, because I really wish that more female characters were like this, and less like what you've been seeing in Marvel films of the past couple of years. Also, you'll kind of find this funny. I thought this guy was Diego Luna from Andor, and it's not. It's an English actor. He's not even Hispanic. There's just this one shot from the trailer. It's like, that looks like Diego Luna, and it's not. So, I thought that was funny. I feel you'd get a kick out of it. So, now, I normally wouldn't have brought this up if it wasn't for the fact that the previous film to this, Fury Road, made such a benchmark for it. But like, when it comes to the CGI in this film, this was like Michael Bay or Ridley Scott or any other director out there, I wouldn't have really brought this up. But because it's George Miller and the studio that made Mad Max Fury Road, it's a little disappointing, and that's with the CGI. The CGI is perfectly fine, but when you look at Mad Max Fury Road, the CGI was like top level, mind-blowing. There were some scenes, it's like obviously CGI, but there was so much CGI in like being used in that film that you didn't notice. It was like a masterclass in how to properly utilize CGI for an action movie. I mean, I think people have studied that film in terms of how to do proper CGI use in an action movie. And when this movie came out, it felt like the dial was taken from 10 to 9. It's still decent, it still looks good, but a lot of the CGI was noticeable, where in the last movie it wasn't. And I mean, I know it seems like I'm nitpicking, but when you stick the landing so great in that department on the last film, and then the next jump, this movie, you don't quite stick the landing just right, I kind of have to hold it against you. If it was any other movie or any other film director, I probably wouldn't have held it against George Miller, but like, just that first landing was so perfect. It kind of set the bar too high, guys, and so I kind of have to hold it against it. The CGI is good, okay? But it's not perfect, and it is noticeable in a lot of places. Now, there's a couple things that, like, just individually, I wouldn't say hurts the film, but just like altogether, there's certain things that just don't seem feasible. Like, don't want to spoil anything, but I don't think plants grow like that. I'm just saying, maybe I'm wrong. But like another thing is like they're at Bullet Farm and they just like bring this hose down and they're just dropping all these loose bullets into like the back tank of a truck. It's just like, anyone who knows anything about guns knows you do not transfer bullets like that or move bullets like that. That is just a bad day waiting to happen. If you understand how a bullet works, you know. And then another thing that I didn't like is that there's all these characters that they show in Furiosa that's like, I remember these characters from Fury Road. Small characters like the head of Bullet Farm, the guy with the weird nose thing, Immortan Joe's kids. Like, there's a lot of characters that definitely is like, okay, he's from Fury Road, he's from Fury Road, that person's from Fury Road, I recognize that girl, I recognize this person. But there was a couple of characters that don't connect to Fury Road, and like, I was thinking, oh, okay, they're obviously going to die in this movie, and it's like, wait a minute, that character never died in this movie. What happened? Are we getting like another movie? I mean, like, I'm pretty sure I would have remembered that character in Fury Road. And like, Furiosa does lead right into the opening of Fury Road. So like, seriously, like, you could jump right onto Fury Road after finishing this movie and like not miss a beat. So just, there's some characters introduced, it's like, they didn't get killed off, so where were they in Fury Road? And then there was one character that they introduced in this film, big character, and just like their fate was a little bit ambiguous. I mean, it's kind of clear what happened to that character, but I would have liked a more definitive answer to what happened to that character, because it was kind of a cool character. So all in all, was Furiosa a Mad Max Saga? I nailed it. Was it a good film? Yes, I had a lot of fun with it. I mean, it was George Miller. I mean, what were you expecting? It was going to be a fun film. The guy knows how to make a good action film. And so, yeah, do I wish that he did a Mad Max film? Sure. Do I wish that he did another Mad Max film with Mel Gibson before he, can't do it anymore? Absolutely. I mean, am I happy that we got this? Sure. I do hope that this isn't like, okay, well, we're not going to do any more Mad Max films anymore, because let's face it, this article sucks. This is stupid. It's like, well, I responded, let's look at why an Iron Man movie no longer needs Iron Man in an Iron Man movie. So, anyway, I had a blast with this movie. I enjoyed it. I think you'll have a fun time at the theater. Definitely a bleak movie, so definitely don't have it the last thing you watch, but it is fun nonetheless. And if you're looking for a good post-apocalyptic popcorn film, then yeah, you'll have a lot of fun with this movie. I had a lot of fun with it. I'll probably grab it when it comes out in 4K, and I'll watch it back to back with Mad Max Fury Road. So anyway, that's been my review of Furiosa and Mad Max Saga. My name's Christopher Cobb, Lemon Reviews, and that will be all for today.